Okay, thank you for the chance. Good evening, class. So today, I'm as first presenter of this topic. We will present you about AD model. And then next, the definition of AD model. AD is an acronym for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate. The AD is a generic model that provides an organized process for developing instructional materials. In fact, the elements made by following the AD model can be used in any environment as online or face-to-face. And then the AD concept is being applied for construct performance-based learning. The intentional learning of this concept should be student-centered, innovative, authentic, and inspirational. This means that every component of the instruction is governed by the learning outcomes, which have been determined after a thorough analysis of the student's needs. Now we come to the history of AD model. In the 1950s, learning designers like Robert Gagne and Robert Glasser, working with the US military to train recruits, came up with the idea of applying the new field of system thinking to learning design. And then by the 1970s, the Center for Educational Technology at Florida State University for the US Army developed that line of thinking into the AD model. The methodology itself was developed in Florida State University's Center for Educational Technology. And by the middle of 1980s, the version familiar today emerged of the AD model instructional design. Next, as you can see, this is the face of AD model, which is in the AD model instructional design consists of 5 phases. The first is analysis, and then design, and then development, and then the implementation, and the last is evaluation. Okay. Next, I will explain to you about the first phase, that is analysis. The analysis phase is the process of defining what is to be learned. This phase is the foundation for all other phases of instructional design. And then, in order to carry out the analysis phase, we have to analyze 4 things. That is first, in analysis of the learner. Like we have to analyze the learners, such as where they are at, their skills, and their needs, and so on. And then we have to analyze the instructional goals, which means we have to identify obvious goals for the specific instruction for aiming at specifying the end desired result. And then developing instructional analysis, which means to provide the necessary steps and present opportunities to learn and use new information in an instruction. And then the last thing that we should analyze in this phase is developing learning objectives, which means analyze the learning objective in order to do how to measure the attainment of goals. In this phase, we define what our learners should be able to do when the instruction is finished. And then for the rest, explanation will be presented by the second presenter, Ms. Salama. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss Suaiba, for the chance for me. I will continue the explanation about the next phases of AD model. For the second is design. The design phase involves using the outputs from the analysis phase to plan a strategy for developing the instruction. Furthermore, in design phase, the instructional designer evolves and focuses on designing assessment for his or her topic, select a form of the course, and creating their own instructional strategy. Next, for the third is development. This phase builds on both the analysis and design phases. The purpose of this phase is to generate the lesson plans and lesson materials. During this phase, the teacher will develop the instruction, all media that will be used in the instruction, and any supporting documentation. And for the fourth is implementation. The implementation phase refers to the actual delivery of the instruction, whether it's classroom based, lab based, or computer based. In order to pass, sorry, during this case, there are several things which need to be considered, such as the knowledge of the teacher about the strategy for delivering the instruction, preparing the students for the instruction that the teacher developed, and organizing the learning environment. Next, for the last is evaluation. This phase measures the effectiveness and efficiency of the instruction. Evaluation should actually occur throughout the entire instructional design process, within phases, between phases, and after implementation. Evaluation may be formative or summative. Uh, for evaluation is review from for phases before. There are qualitative, qualitative and quantitative. For addition, about the phases of AD model, the AD model is an iterative instructional design process where the results of the formative evaluation of each phase may lead the instructional designer back to any previous phase. The end product of one phase is the starting products of the next phase. Um, so that the phases or steps of AD model cannot be skipped because every step related to each other. If we feel are getting that steps that we are already done, but it's not yet perfect, we could back to first phase or we could back previous phase. Next, for advantages of AD model, there are three advantages of AD model. There are due to systematic nature of the process, the AD model can facilitate design and development of a large number of high quality training courses. And the second, the other training model helps instructional designer provide more effectively designed programs. And the last of advantages of a model is its evaluation phase can be carried out through process that result in measurable and specific outcomes. In addition, about advantages of a model related with Merdeka curriculum, because Merdeka curriculum more strengthened in characteristic of students, it can be seen of first steps from first steps until the last steps of a model. These are the steps that have been developed in the ADA model method. As for the ADA model, it can increase learning concentration, make students more creative, and think critically and motivate learning. Next slide, please. And for conclusion, the conclusion is that the ADA model is a general learning model consists of 5 phases such as analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation phase. It is very appropriate to be developed in classroom learning and can be used in any environment as online or face-to-face. For online is such as Zoom learning or Google Classroom. For face-to-face, did usually conventional learning. The intentional learning of this concept should be student-centered, innovative, authentic, and inspirational. Every component of the instruction is governed by the learning outcomes, which have been determined after a group analysis of the students' needs. That's all from our group. Okay, guys, if you have a question, suggestion, or opinion, you can tell us, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Waiba and also Miss Salama for the presentation. Well, any comment, class, about the presentation? I mean, the topic of discussion this evening? ID model. Well, it seems to be that okay, Risa. Okay,
Yeah,
Miss Risa, please. Miss Risa, please.
yeah.
Anything you
Okay.
want to say?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. It's a simple question. In designing the assessment in phase two is design stage. So in designing the assessment, do we need to do a validity test for the assessment before using it? So when we create the assessment, do we need to do a validity test for the assessment before using it? That's all my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Risa. Well, Miss Salama and Miss Wiba, who who is uh who is going to answer this question?
Okay, I will answer this
Okay,
question
okay.
from Miss Liza or Kakak Caca. Before we design, there is first phase, that is analysis. Analysis consists about validity. It's like we survey, interview, pre-test or pre-assessment for the students, because in analysis we should know what what we want to do for teaching. It's like we should choose the instructional goal or and developing instructional analysis. Next, for developing learning objectives. The conclusion is we should do validity. For addition some answer, please, Miss Aiba, you can help me.
Okay, from what I understand, that Miss Riza means about assessment, I think it it is in the evaluation phase. That's I thought. Because in the design phase, what is the meaning of assessment design? Maksudnya itu adalah bukannya kita membuat di dalam phase design itu bukannya kita membuat asesmen untuk murid, tapi lebih ke asesmen desain kita sendiri. Kayak after we do the analysis, is the analysis that we did is correct, or the topic of the lesson suitable with our analysis. Nah, jadi maksudnya tuh kayak kalau di desain phases tuh gitu. Tapi kalau yang dimaksudkan Kakak Riza itu adalah dalam evaluation phase ketika kita membuat asesmen. Jadi kalau menurut saya kita perlu melakukan adanya uji validitas, tapi asesmen itu sendiri kita bisa kembali lagi dari untuk mengukur bagaimana cara kita membuat asesmen itu bisa kita lihat dari outcomes hasil phase sebelumnya. That's all I think.
Okay, thank you. Is it clear? Very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Miss Salama and Miss Waiba have answered Miss Risa's question. Any more opinion, idea, class? Hello. The model is one of popular design format of design, instructional material, and also syllabus if you want to. So why this model is popular? Because this is more applicable for instructional material development. Why I say so? Because the steps or the pages are very clear. You start from A. What is A referred to? This to indicate the first process, the first steps of doing the development of instructional material. The first is refer to analysis. What are you going to analyze? You are going to analyze the needs of the students, the needs of the teacher concerning the material that you are going to develop. D is process of design. Design what? Design instructional material objectives based on the result of analysis. Analysis of what? The need of the students, the need of the teacher concerning the material. Okay? And the third step or the third phase is development. In this case, you as a designer develop a complete draft. It's still a draft, right? A complete draft which is in line with the need of the students and the needs of the teacher. Yeah, that is the third phase. And sorry, A, D, E, K. And it is very important for you as instructional material designer to make sure whether your draft, whether the draft is valid, is suitable, is matched with the need of the teacher and the need of the students. Therefore, it is important for you to ask what? As expert validation. Okay, so stage 3, you can ask expert validation. And after that, based on the expert validation, of course, he will give you some notes, whether your product, whether the draft is suitable or not, based on the needs of the teacher and the students. Therefore, you will get some notes from him or her as an expert. And based on the expert's note, or rather based on the feedback given by the expert, that function as to validate the draft, you need to revise the part or some part at which the expert refer you to do so. Okay, so based on the feedback given by the expert, you need to revise the draft. After you revised it based on the feedback given by the expert, you need to implement this revised draft. The revised draft need to be implemented where? Into the classroom. To whom? To the students. And in this case, you can ask the students whether the instructions are clear enough for them, whether the exercises are easier to do or difficult. So in that case, you ask feedback from the students by using questionnaire, for example. So the instrument for asking the students feedback is questionnaire, is the easiest way. And you can ask also the teacher to make sure whether this revised product is relevant to her or his need. You can interview him, write down the notes based on the interview you have conducted. Yeah. And again, this is very important for you later, yeah, to do revision. And during the in that case, you can see also, the implementation in the classroom. And in that case, you also need the evaluation phase at which you need to revise all, revise all part of the product based on the feedback given by the student during the implementation, and also feedback given by the teacher during the implementation too. So it means that during the implementation, you need to get student feedback, student responses, teacher responses toward the revised product that you have done based on the expert validation. And in the evaluation process, you revise. That is the meaning of evaluation. You revise the whole product in general, I mean, based on teachers' feedback, student responses, and then show which part that you have revised. So you can compare. The previous one is not yet revised, and the second part, if you write down a column, for example, there are two columns over there. In the right and the left side, there is the product, the draft that you implement in the classroom, and in the right side, the right column, you mention the part and show the example which part that have you revised. That is the process of evaluation. So it means that you revise the whole part of the product, and later you will come to the final product after the revision has done. Yeah, so it's done, and then you will get the final product. And it means that you will produce a product in the form of ebook, in the form of textbook, or whatever products you are design. That is the idea of AD model. And that's why I say so, that this format, this model is commonly adopted by the teachers as a designer of instructional material. Because the steps are very clear to do. The first is analyze the needs of your object, the teacher and the students. And the second is you try to design what? Instructional, the draft, general outline, right, of the product, general outline, such as instructional, such as instructional material, such as instructions, such as facts, such as exercises, such as assessment and so on and so on. And after that, you develop them in whole, completely, based on the outline. So the second step is to design an outline. And the third step is to develop the general, the draft of instruction based on the outline, and then ask also the expert validation to make sure whether this is relevant with what theories of instructional material development. So you need to design also a checklist, yeah, based on, for instance, Tomlinson's format, based on what Noonan format or Dick and Carey format, whatever. There are some experts who suggested the format of designing instructional material. So you're free to get that in order to develop a checklist, which is going to use by the expert to validate the draft of your product. And then based on the expert validation feedback, you need to revise the draft. After the draft has been completed, revised, yeah, you need to implement that. It means that you need to use that product to teach English to students, ask the student responses, and then ask the teacher whenever he or she observe you implement that book or using that book, that draft of book, I mean. And then based on the feedback, based on the student responses in the part of evaluation, you revise the whole product, the whole draft. And this will produce, result final product. And it means that whenever you revise it based on the responses of the students and also the feedback from the teacher, you need to show, to prove that you have revised it and compare it to the part which is not yet, which is the previous part, which is not complete, and then compare it with the complete one. So try to explain incomplete draft, which is not yet revised based on the student responses. And in the second part, you need to explain which part of that book, for example, that has been revised based on the student responses or teacher feedback. And also, you need to explain about the validation, which is suggested by the expert. So in that part, you also saw the whole process, start from analysis, design, develop, implement, and finally at the stage of evaluation, you show the result. Result of what? Result of revision based on expert validation in the process of development, and then the process of implementing it, and then get the student responses, and also the teacher feedback, I mean. So finally, you will produce a final product of that particular instructional material, whether in the form of media, teaching media, whether in the form of teaching strategies, whether in the form of instructional material in the form of ebook or text book, Bapak Ibu ya. So that is the idea of SD model. Later you will, if you want to, you may design a proposal by using this model. Okay, thank you very much. Next presenter is, next presenters are Miss who? Miss Tiara and also Mr. Yogi, ya, Tiara Afdalia, and also
Yes,
Yogi,
ma'am.
Pak Yogi, ya, Pak
Yes,
Yogi
ma'am.
Atma. Okay, room is yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Is my voice is clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir. It's
Yeah.
clear.
Okay,
Can
good
see
night.
it clearly.
Okay, good night, everyone. Here,
Night.
I and my
Oh, good evening.
here and my friends
Good
Tiara
evening.
Abdalia will present our material with topic Azure model. Next slide, please. What is the Azure model? The Azure model is an instructional design model that designer use to develop more effective training programs with integrated technology. Azure differs from the AD models because it's typically regarded as a model that caters to learners through technology and media. Azure is composed is 6 phases, each of which have their own characteristic and goals. The next slide, please. The first one is analyze learners. The first step in Azure models is to analyze learners by identifying their expectation, goals, preferences, and needs. In doing so, instructional designer can develop a program that caters to learners' expectation and keep their desired learning outcomes in mind. Next slide. The second one is set standards and objective. The second step is to determine standards and objectives for the programs. Objectives should be concrete, testable, and demonstrable. Learners should clearly understand what they will get out of the program and be able to do once it's completed. Learners should clearly understand what they will get out of the program and be able to do once completed. Yeah. Next slide, please. The third one is select methods and media. After setting learner objectives, the third step decides which media and technology will be used based on content. When deciding on methods and media, organizations should keep in mind how to adapt current learning materials into the desired format, who their learners are, and where they will learn from. Next slide. Utilize media and materials. These steps focus on how the media and material will be implemented. Organizations should decide how they are going to most effectively assign, deliver, and provide access to their learning technologies. Next slide. In this slide, will be present by my friends Tiara.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yogi, for giving me the change. Is my sound is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you for the response. So for the next is about require learner participation. Designers should make plans for how they are going to actively engage learners in the teaching learning process. This is really important because in this phase, the students should actively use the materials and complete the task. And for the next is evaluate and revise. The final step of Assure model evaluates the impact of our training program by examining learning strategies as well as the technology, media, and materials used throughout the program. This, this puzzle is the last of the Assure model. It involves the reviewing the whole instructional planning and implementation. Conclusion, learning design using the Assure model is one of the learning designs that can help to plan, identify, determine goals, choose models and material, and evaluate appropriate. The selection of appropriate methods, media, and material will be able to optimize student learning outcomes and help students achieve competencies or learning objectives. Assure is an acronym that stands for the various steps which are analyze learner, step objective, select methods, media and materials, utilize media and materials, require learner participation, evaluate and revise. That's all our presentation today. So for the audience, if you have a question, you can let us know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Tiara, and also Mr. Yogi, Pak Yogi. I'm glad that both of you are able to explain it briefly, but let me remind you all class that this is closely related with EDI model, but the significant the significant point edit in this format, this model, I mean, is integrated technology with integrated. So use or adopt or adapt in integrated technology or implement technology in designing instructional material, whether use it as a teaching media or assessment or whatever, based on the student needs, I mean. So if we take a look into the step-by-step of this format, the first is analyze learners. Learners what? Again, learners need. This is the same with AD format, right? And the second step is state standard and objective. So in this case, Russell, yeah, suggested the very clear steps to do by the designer, that is state standard and objectives. In any model, this is referred to design, right? The step of design. Design what? Standard and objectives. Objective also what? Instructional material or instructional learning objective or instructional teaching media that you need to do to design, I mean. And the third stage is, or the third step is select strategies, technology, media, and materials. Okay, this is still covered the part of design in the part of EDI model, right? But in Azure model, we can see it's more specific, more detailed about the steps that the designer should to do. The first is design, and then set the standard, set the objectives, and then select strategies, select technology which are appropriate and compatible as media and instructional material based on the student needs. After that, the designer need to utilize technology as media, yeah, idea for delivering instructional material based on the student needs. So after that, after this draft has been done, okay, it seems that the designer need to implement it in the field. Okay, so there is no process of I don't know, is there any part of I think in utilized technology, media, and materials, it seems that the designer need to get feedback from who? From expert to validate this draft of product. Okay, remember the significant differences of this is the designer adopt or utilize technology in his or her draft of product. So in that case, he or she as designer need to get information, need to get feedback from expert validation. And it means that there is a expert validation in utilized technology, media, and materials in this case. Of course, the expert in this case is the one who are expert in technology or RCT, yeah. Bapak Ibu, ya. Not only instructional, the expert of instructional material, but you need two experts, it seems to me. The first one is expert of instructional material development, and the second expert is someone who has expertise in ICT. That is the difference between Azure and what? The model. And later, the next steps is it is referred to require learners participant. This is similar to implementation in EDI model, EI, implementation, to get what? To get feedback from students. Yeah, whether the instruction over there or the application that implement in that case is work well, yeah. And if it doesn't work well, it means that the designer need to revise it to make it work well. And the last step is evaluate and revise. This is similar with AD in the part of ADA model. Also, again, the designer need to need to revise the whole draft based on the student feedback responses, and also the teachers feedback, and also about the technology that has been provided to support the teaching learning process, in order to make sure that this product is well designed and will be implemented in the field, applicable, implemented. I mean, yeah, that's why it is testable, implementable, applicable. I mean, yeah, testable, and then applicable. So these two terms, testable, mean it is able to be tested, to be evaluated, to be measured. Yeah, by what? By the expert validation, by the student, and also by the teachers, to make sure that this product is valid. Valid in terms of what? Valid in terms of the student's need, valid in terms of teacher's need. It is compatible, match with the needs of the student, and match with the teacher's need. Oke, Bapak Ibu, jadi penekanannya di sini adalah pengembangan materi itu selalu berbasis teknologi. Karena itu digunakan assure format, assure model. Jadi pada saat Bapak Ibu mengembangkan penggunaan, let's say penggunaan apa ya yang cocok itu, penggunaan quizzes, penggunaan ya quizzes application to design apa, instructional material practices, misalnya speaking practices atau reading practices atau listening practices, writing practices, menggunakan format apalagi Padlet atau Padlet, lupa saya, Padlet ya untuk writing misalnya, itu juga bisa menggunakan Assure. Bukan tidak boleh menggunakan ADI, tetapi more detailed steps if you adopt Assure model. Jadi kalau ada aplikasi IT di situ, ICT I mean, silakan menggunakan Assure. Tetapi tidak menutup kemungkinan untuk menggunakan AD model. Bapak Ibu ya. Jadi you are free to choose which one is more detailed to follow in order to produce the product that you are going to design later. Okay, Bapak Ibu, any question so far? Can you relate this into the need or the demand of kurikulum Merdeka, Bapak Ibu? What do you think, Ms. Tiara and Mr. Yogi? Can you relate this format issue in the context of kurikulum Merdeka, Belajar Merdeka, kurikulum Merdeka? Any connection? Any relation? Can you relate this? Yes, okay. Can I hear your argument, Ms. Tiara?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Because as we know that in curriculum Merdeka Belajar needs a lot of technology. So Assure model will be, I mean, like it will be suitable model or approach to develop the materials, because the Merdeka Belajar curriculum needs a lot of technology.
Okay. Pak Yogi, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I agree with Bu Tiara, ma'am, because in the modern, the technology is number one to do anything, like like school, to everything within technology. So the Azure model is very important in this era. I think like that, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Miss Tiara and also Mr. Yogi. Let me remind you all, Bapak Ibu, in kurikulum Merdeka itu ada kebebasan dalam artian kebebasan terarah gitu ya. Apa? Segala sumber belajar itu bisa digunakan oleh siswa. Jadi guru bukan satu-satunya the main source of instructional, ya. Tetapi mereka bisa menggunakan berbagai sumber berbagai sumber di luar kelas, ya di dalam kelas juga ya di luar kelas. Nah, kewajiban guru adalah to provide that, menyediakan, ya. Menyediakan, kalau di dalam kelas menyediakan guru kan, kalau di luar kelas bisa recommended ke orang tua untuk mencari di YouTube di mana, dan this must be relevant with the instructional material that you are going to design. Jadi misalnya gini aja Bapak Ibu, kan yang simple itu kosakata bahasa Inggris itu kan menjadi penting, suka atau tidak suka, leksikologi itu leksikon maksud saya ya, itu menjadi relevan pada saat orang belajar bahasa Inggris, walaupun ada saja yang mendebat bahwa tidak bisa berbasis kosakata, tetapi pada basic, pada pembelajaran dasar itu perlu penguasaan kosakata bagi siswa, mulai misalnya SD, SMP, terutama SD dan SMP. Maka karena itu penting didesain instructional material yang berbasis IT yang bisa mendorong itu. Mendorong apa? Mendorong penguasaan pengembangan kosakata bahasa Inggris siswa pada level basic, pada level intermediate, pada level advance. Dalam konteks IFL ya maksud saya ya. So in that case, it seems to me it is wise if a teacher ask the students, apa yang kalian suka kalau belajar bahasa Inggris menggunakan apa? Nah, dari situ kan kita bisa ditanya atau bisa dibuat kuesioner, kita tanya juga bisa satu-satu kalau siswanya tidak banyak di kelas. Kita tanya, kalian yang menyenangkan itu seperti apa suasana belajarnya? Apakah ibunya ceramah saja, atau kita lihat slide, atau kalian lihat di YouTube, atau kalian lihat games, atau kalian lihat aplikasi apa, misalnya. Nah, itu bisa diadaptasi untuk dibawa ke kelas yang nantinya akan diperagakan oleh guru melalui slide. Tidak harus siswa kan, tetapi ini bisa menstimulate siswa untuk actively involved, actively engage, terlibat langsung dalam proses pembelajaran. Kenapa? Karena harapan kita mereka senang tadi, mulai dari senang dulu. Mereka suka melihat gambar-gambar yang hidup, nah berarti video. Jadi kalau gajah yang besar itu bagaimana bentuknya, kenapa ekornya kecil sementara kupingnya besar, mereka tidak berimajinasi, but bring it into the classroom. Show them the video. This is an elephant. Can you see its tail? Can you see its ears? Its ears. Elephant's ears. Bapak Ibu sedang mengajarkan pronunciation, mengajarkan pronouns gitu. Elephant ears, elephant's tail, elephant's leg. Kan gitu. Jadi akan menyenangkan tuh seperti itu belajarnya. Anak-anak juga menirukan. Ini saya mengajar cucu saya itu baru 3,5 tahun. Kalau lagi kami berdua tuh lagi saling apa ya istilahnya me time yang kami berdua, saya kata my hair, saya pegang rambut saya. Lalu dia meniru, touch your hair, dia bilang my hair, nose, my nose, ditunjuknya hidungnya. Dia meniru. Jadi real thing. Usianya masih 3,5 tahun dan itulah usia golden age untuk anak-anak belajar bahasa. Jadi 1 sampai kelas 6 SD itu masih bisa berkembang itu, tetapi sebetulnya 1 sampai 6 tahun itu golden age, di mana input itu harus banyak masuk. Dan nanti itu akan terekspos lagi pada saat dia sudah mulai SMP. Kesempatan baik ini akan sangat menolong anak-anak usia muda itu ya, yang learners itu menurut saya pada saat mereka belajar ke more complicated instructional material. Dan you can use laptop, you can use video, you can use games, you can use real pictures, which is can be shown through YouTube videos, for example. And of course, I'm very sure all the students are very enthusiastic to join your English class because your English class is fun and enjoyable. Nah, itu dia Bapak Ibu. Yang enjoyable ini yang perlu kita cari. Mereka enjoy to learn English. Jadi sekali lagi itulah need yang saya maksudkan tadi. So that is the need that I mean. You need to make sure that the students are enjoy learning English. They are happy learning English. Itu yang harus kita create dengan membuat desain instructional material or instructional media, bisa saja Bapak Ibu ya, atau apalagi yang berkaitan dengan IT. Nah, pada saat mendesain kebutuhan siswa dan guru menggunakan pendekatan integrated IT or technology, it means that you need to adopt or adapt a sure model for designing that particular instructional material or media of English. Gitu Bapak Ibu ya. So this evening, I'm glad that even though this is the last meeting for us in this semester, it doesn't mean that we do not get in touch anymore, no. But I can conclude that, however, even though there is weakness of implementing technology in teaching learning process in Indonesian context, in English language teaching in Indonesian classroom, but we still see a lot of advantages that we can experience. Therefore, please try to make sure that the advantages is useful, is meaningful for you as a teacher of English, useful and meaningful for your students later, whenever you are going to produce a particular or specific product in relation or in integrated of technology or ICT. That is my conclusion, Bapak Ibu. So I think that is the general conclusion that I can make from that I can infer that I can summarize from the first presentation up to now, this moment, this evening. So later, Ibu Ristati will continue the class. And you can join her class. You can ask Pak Yogi, you can chat Ibu Ristati to make sure about the meeting. But for me, it is come to the final moment. I mean, final final online meeting that we have together. And next week there will be UTS, but in schedule we have UTS at Senin ya, tanggal 7 November, but I would like you to make your choice, to decide. Anda mengerjakan soal ataukah Anda membuat artikel atau menyusun artikel. Kalau Anda memilih untuk menyusun artikel, waktu Anda 1 minggu, kemudian nanti silahkan submit individually concerning choose one of model of instructional material development. You are free to choose, and then try to write down an outline of a proposal. Outline proposal aja Bapak Ibu. An outline. So your job is to write down an outline of a proposal of instructional material development or media or whatever you want to do in relation with ICT. Karena Ibu juga mengajar ICT kan semester ini kan. Jadi try to relate it with the use of technology. Jadi silakan Bapak Ibu menulis outline proposal tentang pengembangan materi berbasis ICT or technology. Silakan memilih desain ID model atau Assure. You are free to do that. Terserah Bapak Ibu. Jadi you are free to design that. Nah, kalau Bapak Ibu memilih menulis artikel. Tetapi kalau Bapak Ibu mau menulis tes yang menurut saya sih tidak terlalu it doesn't make sense. it doesn't meaningful for you if you're only, is it true or false? What do you mean this? What do you mean that? Now, I want you to do something real thing to do. Do you agree with me, Bapak Ibu?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one do you choose?
Yes,
Pak
ma'am.
Alpian, anything you want to say?
Agree, ma'am, to make an article.
Oh yeah. What about you all class? You agree with him? With Pak Alpian? Pak Alpian
Yes,
usul buat
ma'am.
artikel. Siapa? Miss Salamah juga?
Yes, I agree for
Okay.
making an article.
Okay, so it means that for the UTS, for the midterm test, you will not have a test, but please write down a draft or an outline gitu aja lah. An outline of a proposal for designing a specific thing that related with the use of technology. Serah aja Bapak Ibu, apa? It's up to you. Apakah untuk mengajarkan bahasa menggunakan media X, basis teknologi, untuk mengajar vocab untuk anak kelas 5 SD, atau kelas 1 SMP menulis writing menggunakan Padlet, misalnya nih ya, 1 SMP menggunakan Padlet, atau menggunakan vlog atau weblog atau apa untuk mengajar misalnya speaking untuk kelas 1 atau kelas 2 SMP. It's up to you. You're free to do that. Kan semuanya kalau blog, weblog atau apa itu ya berbasis ICT, berbasis teknologi. Itulah contoh-contoh yang saya sebutkan tadi. Oke, is it clear Bapak Ibu?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very okay.
So
Any
clear, ma'am.
question? Very clear. Okay, any question related to the task that you are going to do next later? Is it clear? Jadi tugas Bapak Ibu untuk UTS adalah menulis outline proposal, terserah apakah itu proposal tentang materi belajar, media belajar, strategi belajar atau mengajar berbasis teknologi, berbasis ICT. Silakan memilih menggunakan SD model atau Assure. Atau saya tantang aja Bapak Ibu. Assure saja. Oke? Kenapa tidak? Why don't we try to challenge ourselves to choose the latest one, to adopt a sure model. Okay, Bapak Ibu, do you agree with me?
Agree, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
Miss Noveli
Yes.
agree. So I can conclude that in the next week, I will get how many proposals? Okay, 20. Suppose there are 19 or 18 outline of a proposal of instructional material development or media, teaching media or teaching strategies based on ICT, or technology. Ya Bapak Ibu, nanti silahkan disubmit, saya akan chat lagi Pak Yogi untuk keterangan lebih lanjut mulai malam ini Bapak Ibu, mulai besok lah, malam ini, mulai besok Bapak Ibu mulai memikirkannya, sebrowse, oh saya akan mengadop ini untuk ngajar ini, oh saya akan mengadop itu untuk ngajar itu, ya Bapak Ibu. Kalau Bapak Ibu guru, maka itu akan menyenangkan karena Anda langsung punya kelas, punya siswa. Bagi yang tidak, Bapak Ibu bisa mencari case yang lain lagi, ya. Apakah untuk pembelajar muda, pembelajar teenagers, pembelajar remaja, pembelajar dewasa ataupun advanced learners, it's up to you. Okay, thank you very much for your attention and also participation. This is the end of our meeting in this semester. Hopefully we can meet again in the next semester with your progress, because I'm glad to meet you all. Walaupun saya nggak bisa open cam ini ya, nggak tahu nih, sebetulnya ada masalah dengan kamera saya, nggak tahu di mana saya klik tadi sehingga wajah saya tidak tampak, yang ada cuma foto ini, sorry ya. But this photo express my expression that I'm glad to meet you all this semester, and I wish that you all can pass this the subjects in this semester successfully. Thank you very much, you all. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
ma'am.
Much, ma'am, for
Glad to meet you too.
Nice
Ma'am,
to
maaf,
meet you
ma'am.
too.
Mau nanya, ma'am.
Ya,
Untuk minggu depan itu tetap masuk ya lewat Zoom atau
enggak usah lagi, sudah selesai saja. Tapi terjadwal di situ UTS ya. Ya,
Oke,
jadi
ma'am.
silakan aja di. Oke, see you. Oh, bye-bye.
Ya, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tadi, ini sister. Tadi itu tugasnya, halo. Aduh.
Halo.
Terima kasih.
Tadi
Apa maksudnya tuh?
udah buat
Bikin
udah buat ICT. Aduh,
Yang bab 1, bab 2, bab 3 tuh kah?
Buat artikel.
Outline
bukannya
proposal
tadi
tuh
di awal
apa?
artikel,
Proposal.
terus kenapa jadi proposal ya?
Ya,
Harusnya artikel.
proposal aja kalau guys.
Ya
Kalau proposal
kalau
kan
misalkan
penelitian.
bilang,
Iya,
Kalau
bab 1
lebih-
sampai bab 3 loh.
lebih ribet lagi. Mending artikel.
Berarti ICT sama silabus desain ini satu aja tugasnya lo.
Ya.
Masuk.
nah itu yang mau ditanyakan tuh, Miss.
Oh
Satu
ya
tuh,
itu
satu
tanyakan
tapi
ntar.
tapi digabung loh, kayak disatukan. Misalnya kita bikin ICT-nya digabung kan?
Penggunaan teknologinya untuk nyangkut ke mata kuliah yang ICT.
Satu aja lo jadinya.
Berarti
Ya.
berarti satu ya.
Tapi mending ditanyakan enggak lah, biar lebih pasti.
Bisa juga dulu. Ya gimana tanyain.
Tanyakan.
Iya.
Aduh, habis
komplit.
paketku, habis
Tolong
paketku buat
komplit.
nanya, nggak ada paket tuh.
Enak aku
habis.
kirim berapa garang.
Rumah kerja komplit.
Aduh.
Rumahku ada komplit.
Aduh, jadi enak aku.
Palang ke home base nih.
Kelasnya diliburkan, datangan ke Palangkalah.
Baik kelas mana yang mau nikah?
Makan di
Mana
traktir
calon
Pak
pengantin nih?
Selamat Pak Ikhlas.
Mana calon pengantinnya nih? Oh, ada.
Iya.
Pengantin mana pengantin?
Hai.
Ya boleh tapi di jalanan lah, ingat itu.
Ayo meet up di pengantinannya Pak Ikhlas nah.
Nah ya, bujur tuh. Iya deh.
Aku bawa Tupperware lah, aku bawa buat di rumah.
Hadiahnya apa tuh?
Model anak kosan gitu dah.
Miss Mimah mau ngasih kompol gas katanya.
Nah, terima.
Mau kumpulan aja dah kita.
Ada alamatnya.
Ayo berkabar.
Iya dong, gue artikel.
Belum aku akhiri. Karena omongan kita tadi